Mike Moore. I'm with Copperhead Industries. We're a Minnesota-based company. Our sole purpose is to get out and work with the utilities on all underground assets. We are a tracer wire manufacturer. We started out by inventing what we call the complete tracer wire system. And what I mean by that is we're grounding all dead ends. We're using a copper-clad steel tracer wire. We're using access points and test points and waterproof connections to make sure that everything's working properly. Well, we showed up today. What we're doing is we're actually getting set up for this expo. We're going to be doing a live demo. We're really excited. This is our first time here at Planet Underground, and show people what Copperhead's expertise is. We do a lot of specification planning, specification writing for the cities and the towns. We work with engineers. We train contractors on the proper way to put in the complete tracer wire system. Copperhead is a tracer wire manufacturer, but we're more than that. We make what we call the complete utility locate system. What that is getting the proper components, and one of the most important things of that is having a ground. The ground rod should be placed at all dead ends. What's a dead end? Dead end would be the fire hydrant, would be the beginning of the pipe, the end of the pipe, and any kind of service lateral. Okay? The importance of grounding is building that electrical circuit that we're going to build when we put the tracer wire in the ground. Along with that, you have to make sure you got a waterproof, corrosion-proof connection. We have a quick locking connector. It's called the snake bite connector that works really well for doing splicing and lateral services. We also have several access boxes that are used. This particular one here is used to go onto a fire hydrant. So we bolt on the lower flange of the fire hydrant. We bring your ground wire up, your tracer wire up, the ground hooks to the middle, tracer wire hooks to the top, and by removing this link, we can utilize that ground for our transmitter on our locator. We also make a ground level box, and this is a new patented cover that we come out with. This is the Copperhead Snake Pit switchable lid. This lid here, we bring our ground up, we bring our tracer wire up, and without removing the lid, we can actually turn our ground on and off right here, okay? So what we'd like to do next, the other thing Copperhead does is we make a wire for open cut, directional drill, and for pipe bursting. So there really isn't one wire for all applications. So that's important to know what application you're going to be doing first. So what I'd like to do is walk over here and show you a demonstration on how the system works. What we have here, we have Copperhead's Viper Mag locator. This is the transmitter, here's our receiver. What I'm using today is I'm using 512 frequency. And what you can see here, this is one of our old style lids. The old style lid, you had to remove the cover and then make your attachments to the tracer wire from below the lid. That new lid we're going to show you later on. So the importance of having a ground on, I got the ground on the far end hooked up, and we turn the ground off at the service lateral. So what we're doing here is we're pretending we have a water main running this direction, and we have a service going up to like a curb stop or a fire hydrant going that direction. And with the ground on the other end, you can see we have a signal. So the electricity is actually being pulled to the ground. If I turn and try to go up the lateral, we have nothing. As Andy turns on the ground at the lateral, we get our signal back. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Andy disengage that ground again. You can see I lost my signal. I'm going to walk back here to the beginning. Andy will turn the ground off at the far end. As you can see, if we just have dead-headed tracer wire out there and we don't have a ground on it, we have nothing here. We don't have anything on the main. We have nothing on the service. But if Andy turns that ground back on, and we have not turned the ground on the service yet, we pick our signal up again. That's the critical part of a tracer wire system, is making sure that we have a ground at our far ends. Again, what's a far end? Fire hydrant, curb stop, beginning of the pipe, end of the pipe. What a lot of people don't understand is with electricity, electricity has two jobs. It takes the path of least resistance and it seeks out ground. And that doesn't matter if it's in a building or if it's buried underground in a tracer wire system. What happens when you turn your transmitter on is that ground will pull the signal to the ground. If you don't have a ground there, we can't push the electricity down the line.